Pakistan in 2025 stands at a defining inflection point. For decades, the world saw Pakistan through the lens of crisis, conflict, and unpredictability. But today, a very different story is unfolding. One driven not by slogans or geopolitics, but by measurable outcomes, real partnerships, and a foreign policy doctrine rooted in clarity. Pakistan welcomes every bilateral and multilateral partner that supports regional stability and economic integration. This doctrine is not emotional, it is not ideological, and it is certainly not naive. It is pragmatic, it is transformative, and it is producing visible, verifiable results. Look at the data. Foreign direct investment rose by 41% in just the first half of fiscal year 2025, one of the strongest mid-year recoveries in South Asia. Over $20 billion has been fast-tracked since 2024 and $9 billion materialized just this year. These are not random spikes, they are pattern, proof that Pakistan is becoming a predictable, rules-based investment destination. A huge part of this renewal is CPEC 2.0. Launched in September 2025, this upgraded phase moves Pakistan and China from concrete to competitiveness, from roads to productivity, agriculture modernization, IT and artificial intelligence, minerals and industrial relocation. 21 MOUs worth $8.5 billion lay the foundation for Pakistan's ambition. 30 to 50 billion in exports to China by 2030. Where CPEC once relied on state lending, CPEC 2.0 relies on private capital, export-led growth, and shared industrial ecosystems. This is not dependency, this is transformation. At the same time, the Middle East has emerged as the anchor of Pakistan's financial revival. On September 17, 2025, Pakistan and Saudi Arabia signed the Strategic Mutual Defense Agreement, a historic milestone. For the first time, both nations committed to mutual defense and enhanced intelligence coordination. And with this agreement came $25 billion in Saudi investment in energy, mining, and manufacturing. This is not aid, this is long-term strategic partnership, backed by the confidence of Riyadh and accepted without resistance by Washington or Beijing. The UAE followed with $10 billion in mining and renewable projects. Bilateral trade is on the track to hit $15 billion next year. 50,000 jobs created in Pakistan. Another $1 billion in fresh FDI already pledged. Qatar signed a $3 billion investment protocol and is now a diplomatic bridge helping facilitate Pakistan-Afghanistan border talks, particularly on transit security. Even Iran and Pakistan, often portrayed as conflicted neighbors, reached $10 billion in trade commitments, energy cooperation, and new counter-terrorism mechanisms in November 2025. Together, these engagements prove one thing: Pakistan's new foreign policy is not a doctrine of alignment. It is a doctrine of welcoming partners for stability and economic integration. And this reorientation goes beyond the Gulf. With Turkey, Pakistan has expanded the strategic economic framework. $1.2 billion in joint ventures in aerospace, drones, and shipbuilding. Bilateral trade is set to reach $2.5 billion by 2027. With Azerbaijan, Pakistan has finalized a $600 million connectivity and energy package, including LNG supply and Trans-Caspian routes linked directly to CPEC. Azerbaijan's growing investments in Pakistan's renewable energy sector show how Pakistan's doctrine matches Baku's vision for an integrated Eurasian future. And then there is Afghanistan. Pakistan's position is finally unambiguous. Good neighborliness? Yes. Cooperation? Yes. But zero tolerance for cross-border terrorism. Pakistan continues to support the Afghan people, but it expects the Afghan authorities to to ensure that their soil is not used by militant groups. This clarity has reshaped regional diplomacy. On the Western Front, Pakistan's credibility rose sharply when the United States mediated the India-Pakistan ceasefire in May 2025. For the first time in years, line of control violations fell to near zero. This single diplomatic breakthrough freed Pakistan's focus politically, militarily, economically. Europe also recalibrated. In November 2025, during the 7th EU-Pakistan Strategic Dialogue, Europe renewed €135 million for climate resilience and migration governance, while reaffirming Pakistan's GSP Plus access, enabling $15 billion in exports annually. Institutions that matter have responded. The World Bank's 10-year country partnership framework aligns with Pakistan's Udan initiative to attract $5 billion in annual FDI. The Asian Development Bank has committed $33 billion to Pakistan's energy transformation, expected to generate 1 million new jobs by 2027. And all of this is showing up in Pakistan's macroeconomic indicators. Inflation down from 12.3% to 4.5%. GDP growth up from 0.3% to 2.7%. Reserves also up from $4 billion to $14 billion. FDI inflows up by more than 40%. FAK-related attacks down 14%, thanks to improved intelligence and stronger border coordination. These are not coincidences. This is strategy, executed through discipline. Pakistan is doing something it has not done in decades, aligning economic diplomacy with national security, and the results are unmistakable. Pakistan is no longer reactive, isolated, or defined by crisis cycles. It is becoming a stabilizer between South Asia and the Middle East, a manufacturing base for relocated industries, and a regional trade and transit hub connecting China, Central Asia, the Gulf, and Europe. The conceptual map is clear. China builds Pakistan's productive capacity, the GCC powers provide financial depth, Iran contributes energy and border stability, Turkey and Azerbaijan add aerospace and Eurasian connectivity, the US and EU provide diplomatic balance, markets, and institutional support. And to every nation, every institution, every partner seeking constructive, rules-based engagement, Pakistan's message is simple and unequivocal. Those who support regional stability, economic integration, and shared prosperity will always find a partner in Pakistan. I'm Dayan Rahmani, and this is Policy Wire. Stay tuned.